Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that seems, well, almost too basic, right? Telling time, writing dates.
Yeah, stuff we do every single day without thinking.
Exactly. But the way we write them down, especially when you're dealing with international stuff, official forms, booking flights, suddenly those little details aren't so trivial. They can actually cause huge problems.
Oh, absolutely. Catastrophic errors sometimes.
Yeah.
It comes down to assumptions, doesn't it? We
What?
just assume everyone writes 10 o'clock or March 5th the same way we do.
And that assumption can be costly. We're not just talking about, missing a casual coffee meeting.
No, think bigger. Logistics falling apart,
Hmm.
missing critical deadlines for compliance, even voiding contracts because one side reads 03052025 as March 5th.
And the other reads it as May 3rd. Ouch.
Exactly, a massive difference. So our mission today is pretty clear. We're doing a deep dive into the global standards, the sort of rules of the road for time and date formats. Yeah, we want to help you cut through that confusion.
We're aiming to give you the practical tools, the hard and fast rules, really, to eliminate that ambiguity, whether you're traveling, working across borders, or just filling out an important form. Basically, mastering this stuff makes life smoother.
And it's not just about knowing the systems like what they are. It's understanding why they exist. Why these specific global standards like the 24-hour clock or that ISO date format were developed. Often, it was to fix really fundamental problems in how we communicate or even how software handles data.
Okay, good point. Let's start with time then. In everyday chat, most of us, especially here in the US or Canada, we just use the 12-hour clock, right?
The conversational standard.
Mhm.
Standard time. You split the day into two halves.
AM and PM, antemeridium, postmeridium, before midday, after midday.
Right.
And we use phrases like 3:30 for 3.30 or 4:45 for 4.45. It feels natural in conversation. But the absolute key, the non-negotiable part, is you have to say AM or PM. If you just say, let's meet at 10:0 now, well, 10 when, morning, night. That ambiguity is built in. If you see a note that just says meeting 8.15, you got a 50-50 shot of being completely wrong, 12 hours wrong.
Precisely. And that inherent confusion is exactly why, the moment things get serious, travel logistics, technical systems, official documents, that 12-hour format pretty much disappears. Which brings us straight to the official standard.
Yes.
The 24-hour clock.
Yep.
Often called military time, but really it's used way more broadly. Continental
Sure.
time, universal time. It's the standard in most parts of the world for anything that requires precision.
Technical stuff, travel, medical records.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is its simplicity. It just runs the clock straight through. Midnight is 0000.
0000.
Right. All the way up to 23:59, which is 1 minute before the next midnight. There's no way to mix up 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Because there are 0800 hours and 2000 hours?
Yeah. Totally distinct.
Zero ambiguity.
And the conversion, I think most people know the basic trick, right? For the afternoon hours, 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., you just add 12.
Yeah, so 1 p.m. is 1300, 5 p.m. is 1700, 11 p.m. is 2300. Simple math.
The key markers being 0000 for midnight and 1200 for noon. But why is this system so rigorously enforced in global systems? It seems simple, but why is it non-negotiable?
Well, it really boils down to the cost of mistakes in those areas. Think about global shipping, for instance. A manifest needs exact loading and delivery times.
Okay.
That system tries to handle AM/PM across maybe 10 different ports with different local interpretations or even just data entry errors. The whole thing can break down.
Chaos.
Chaos. But with the 24-hour system, 1430 is 1430 everywhere. Every timestamp is unique, globally understood.
You see it everywhere once you look. Flight schedules, air traffic control, I imagine in medicine too, like complex surgery schedules, absolutely critical there. Getting 0700 mixed up with 1900, that's not just an inconvenience. It could be life or death. Or in commerce, it's massive delays, huge costs. You trade maybe a tiny bit of conversational ease for absolute clarity.
That makes total sense. But there's another angle, too, isn't there, about how machines process this?
Yes, that's a huge factor the data points to. Automatic processing. A computer system reading 1345 knows instantly what that means. It's unambiguous.
It doesn't need extra steps.
Right. It doesn't need to read PM and then apply a rule like, okay, it's PM and the hour is less than 12, so I need to add 12 to the hour value. It just reads the number.
So it simplifies the programming and drastically reduces the chance of system errors from weirdly formatted input, like someone typing 8 p.m. versus 8 p.m. versus 8:00 p.m. The 24-hour format is just cleaner for machines.
Okay.
Hold on. If the 24-hour clock is so clearly better, clearer for humans, easier for machines, eliminates ambiguity, why do big sectors like, say, TV broadcasting or everyday scheduling, especially in North America, still cling to AM/PM? Is it just, like, habit? Cultural lag.
It's largely that, yeah. Cultural inertia is powerful. The 12-hour clock feels more natural when we're just talking. It's how many of us learn to tell time.
Right.
And changing widespread cultural habits takes a very long time. Plus, we're essentially mapping a circular thing the day onto a linear number sequence from 0 to 23.
Interesting way to put it.
But the moment documentation or automation gets involved, booking that train ticket in France, submitting data to a government agency, it immediately snaps back to the 24-hour standard. They prioritize synchronization and error avoidance over local cultural habits.
Got it. Okay, so we've tackled time ambiguity with the 24-hour clock, but dates, you mentioned dates, are the real disaster zone.
Oh, yeah. If time ambiguity is bad, date format confusion is arguably worse and definitely more widespread in everyday screw-ups.
And the core problem is just the order we write the numbers. Day, month, year. Month, day, year.
Exactly that. When you send a date written numerically across borders or even just between different departments sometimes, you're almost asking for trouble, unless everyone's agreed on the format beforehand. So let's lay out the main culprits. First, there's the American Standard. Format 1, month, day, year. MMDDYYYY. So September 5th, 2025 becomes 09/05/2025.
Okay. Seems straightforward enough if you're used to it, but the risk is massive because of the overlap in numbers. Think about it. There are 12 months and up to 31 days.
Right. So any date where both the day number and the month number are 12 or less, which is quite a lot of the year.
January 1st through December 12th, essentially.
Yeah, 144 days of the year. Any date in that range written numerically is completely ambiguous internationally. So my example, 04/08/2025.
Yeah.
As an American, I instantly see April 8th. But your colleague in London or Berlin or Tokyo using the international standard, which is format 2, day, month, year, DDM-MYYYY. Correct. They see 08/2025, and they instantly automatically read that as the 4th of August.
Wow. That's not a small difference, April versus August.
It's huge. Yeah. Imagine that on a contract deadline, or a delivery window, or visa expiry date. It causes real tangible problems.
And that day, month, year format, that's the one used pretty much everywhere else, right? Europe, Asia, Africa, South America.
Vast majority of the world uses day, month, year. And interestingly, many argue it's inherently a bit less ambiguous than the American month, day, year.
Oh, why is that?
Well, partly it follows a more logical progression, smallest unit day, medium unit month, largest unit year. But more practically, the position of the day number acts as a quick sanity check.
How so?
If you see a date like 150/7/2025, that first number, 15, it has to be the day, right?
Because there's no 15th month. Okay, I see.
Exactly. The month can only go up to 12. So if the first number is 13 or higher, you instantly know its role. The American system, MMDDYYY, doesn't give you that clue. If the first number is, say, 10, like 105/2025.
Could be October 5th or could be the 10th of May. No way to know from the numbers alone.
Precisely. The ambiguity remains for those first 12 days of the month.
Okay, so we've got these two dominant systems, MMDYYY and DDMMYYYY, both clashing, both causing confusion for almost half the year numerically. If the goal is zero confusion, especially for important stuff like contracts, data, software, there has to be a better way.
There is. And thankfully, it's a globally recognized standard. The safest, most logical, and technically superior format is year-month day, YYYYMMDD.
Ah, the ISO standard, ISO 8601, right?
That's the one. Using our example, September 5th, 2025 becomes 2025's 09/05, usually with hyphens.
Okay, I see this format a lot in file names from software or in databases. But why that specific order? Year first, then month, then day, largest to smallest. What's the magic there?
The magic is all about sorting, especially for computers, but even for humans organizing files.
Sorting. How does the order affect sorting? Okay, imagine you have a bunch of report files you need to put in chronological order. Let's say you named them using the American format. Okay, imagine you have a bunch of report files you need to put in chronological order. Let's say you name them using the American format. Report 01-10-2025.pdf. That's January 10th. Okay, imagine you have a bunch of report files you need to put in chronological order. Let's say you name them using the American format. Report 01-01-2025.pdf, January 1st. Okay, imagine you have a bunch of report files you need to put in chronological order. Let's say you name them using the American format. Report 02-01-2025.pdf, February 1st.
Now, if your computer sorts these alphabetically, which is the default, what happens?
It looks at the first character, so 0101 comes first, then 0110, then 02s are 1. Wait,
See the problem? It puts February 1st after January 10th.
but chronologically, Feb 1st should be last in that list. The sorting is wrong.
Exactly. The sorting breaks because it's reading 01 and then 02 as the primary sort key. Your data is now out of order. For software trying to process events in sequence, this is a potential disaster.
Wow, okay. That's a really clear example of a hidden software failure caused just by the date format. It is?
But now, name them using the ISO format. It is,
Yep.
but now, name them using the ISO format. Report 2025-0101.pdf. It is, but now, name them using the ISO format. Report 2025-01-10.pdf. It is, but now, name them using the ISO format. Report 2025-01-01.pdf.
Now, when it sorts alphabetically,
It sorts first by the year 2025, then by the month 01 comes before 02, then by the day 01 comes before 10.
The files end up in perfect chronological order. 2025-0101, 2025-0110, 2025-0201.
Guaranteed. Every time. Instantly. That's why it's the global standard for data interchange, file naming databases. It just works for keeping things organized correctly over time, regardless of local habits.
That makes the ISO format seem less like just another option and more like a fundamental requirement for reliable systems. But realistically, when I'm booking a flight online or filling out some government form, I don't always get to choose the ISO standard. Sometimes they force you into MMDDYYYY or DDMMYYYY boxes.
true.
So in those situations, when you have to use one of the ambiguous numerical formats, but you absolutely cannot afford a mistake, what's the ultimate backup? The fail-safe.
This is probably the single most practical takeaway, I think.
Yeah.
When it's critical a contract, an international deadline, anything where ambiguity could be costly, just
Right.
take the numbers out of the equation for the most confusing part.
Meaning?
Always. Write. Out. Month.
Spell it out like a safety catch, exactly. Don't write 09052-025 or error 5092-0225. Right. Due date, 05 September 2025. Okay, I see. By spelling out September, there's no confusion between month and day.
None whatsoever. You've completely bypassed the MMDD versus DDMM problem.
Yeah.
The day number 005 and the year 2025 are still there, but the spelled out month anchors the whole thing.
Is there a preferred order when you write it out like that? Day, month, year? Month, day, year?
The most common international convention when writing it out is day, month, year, like 05 September 2025. So that's probably the best default to aim for maximum clarity globally. But honestly, the key is just spelling out that month name. That's the silver bullet against confusion.
Okay, that's a really solid practical tip. So this whole deep dive, it's really been about finding clarity, minimizing risk by just paying attention to these global standards. Let's try and pull the main action points together for everyone listening.
Sounds good. So for time, especially global time.
Get comfortable with the 24-hour clock.
Yeah.
Use it for booking travel, scheduling international calls or projects, any official communication. Just mentally converting, say, 4:30 p.m. to 16:30. Doing that consistently eliminate a huge source of potential error.
Right. And for dates, especially critical ones.
Default to the ISO standard YYMMDD whenever you can, especially if you're naming files, working with databases, anything tech-related. Remember that chronological sorting is its superpower. And if you can't use ISO, if you're stuck with numerical boxes, implement the failsafe. Right out. Month. Use that day, month, year format like 05 September 2025. That guarantees everyone's on the same page, regardless of their local habit. It really seems like mastering these small things, time formats, date formats, it's not just about being pedantic. It's a sign of professionalism, right? Shows you're thinking globally, anticipating problems.
Definitely. It signals attention to detail, respect for potential confusion, and a proactive approach to clear communication. It just makes everything run smoother, avoids costly mistakes.
So we've talked a lot about the ISO 8601 date format, YYYYMMDD, and how its logical chronological sorting is key for data and systems.
Its efficiency is really its main selling point globally.
Which leads to a kind of provocative thought to leave everyone with. If that format is demonstrably better for clarity, for sorting, for avoiding errors, especially in our increasingly digital and global world, should the YYY or MMDD system eventually just replace all the other date formats, like for all written communication, formal, informal, everywhere? Should we aim to move past the cultural inertia of MMDDYYYY and DDMMYYY towards that one universally logical standard?
A world without date ambiguity. Interesting question to ponder.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
And thank you for listening to The Deep Dive.